Hello friends, and welcome to Kiddos Corral. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a family recipe that I make every single Easter, and it is for my cross bread. So I'm going ahead and I'm laying out all of the ingredients, and the recipe will be down below in the description box in case you want to make it. It is divine, and it makes 3 loaves, so you can make yourself one, your friends one, or you can keep them all for yourself and enjoy. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. Thanks so much for watching. Let's get started in making our bread. So I have a clear bowl here, and what I have is a total of 4 cups of milk. This is milk that I have brought up to a boil, and I have allowed to rest and lower in temperature. And you don't want this milk to be over 115 degrees or it will not allow your yeast to activate. So I'm just warning you now, just make sure you do not use it when it's too hot. In this bowl, I am going to mix some of this, probably about 1.5 cups of my milk. I am going to add in a tablespoon of sugar. Then I'm going to add in my yeast. And you just want to sprinkle your yeast over the top. And you want 2 packages of yeast. There we go. Now I'm going to allow this to rest for about 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, now we are going to start mixing all of our ingredients, and I'm using a KitchenAid, but you can certainly mix it into a bowl and then throw it out onto a floured surface and work all of your flour in by hand if you don't have a standing mixer. I didn't always have a standing mixer and had to do this the hard way, so if you need to do that, that is perfectly fine. So you're looking into my KitchenAid. We've got 2 sticks of melted butter that I've already melted in the microwave. Alright, I have 4 beaten eggs. I went ahead and whisked them in this little bowl that I have. They're all there. There we go. You want to add in a teaspoon of salt. The remaining of your milk, which was a total of 4 cups. We have 1/2 cup of sugar minus the tablespoon that we took out to put in the milk with the yeast. So we want to go ahead and add that to our mixer. Okay, and then I'm going to get a spatula. Our yeast proofed beautifully. I don't know if, yeah, you guys can see it on there. Absolutely beautiful. And you can tell that it has because it's foamy on the top, and it gives off a very strong yeast aroma, so you know that it is working. So I'm going to add that in, and you want to make sure that you take a spatula and get all that yeast down in this, you know, into your mixing bowl, because you don't want to leave any out, because it's very important to this recipe. Okay, now this is 10 cups of bread flour, and I start out with a couple cups of flour, and you just want to mix in like 1 cup of flour, you know, at a time. That way you know that you're not overloading your machine. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to let this run till the first 2 cups get good and combined with my liquid. And then I will add another cup, and so on and so on and so on until it pulls together as a beautiful dough. I'm going to add one more cup, and then we have an additional ingredient to add. So I'm going to add 1 cup. I'm going to let this mix, and then I'm going to add a additional ingredient here in a minute. I have 1 cup of golden raisins that I have allowed to soak in hot water for about 30 minutes. And I just want to add these raisins to this now at this point. And these are golden raisins, not just your typical raisins. I've never tried making this with a regular raisin before. Now, if you like more raisins, you can add about 1.5 cups to this entire recipe, but my family is not real keen on the raisins, so I only add 1 cup, but I find them to taste really, really good. This is a very rich bread. Anytime you make any type of rich breads or anything that's more of a dessert bread, you're going to have lots of eggs and lots of butter, and that is what is in this recipe. So I'm going to just keep adding my flour until all of this is good and combined. So this is my last little bit of bread flour. I'm going to let this knead probably for about 10 minutes once it's all good and combined. And then we're going to put this in a buttered bowl in a warm place and allow it to rise. My dough came together, and I've got a little bit of flour on my hand so that I can maneuver the dough because it is slightly sticky. Large bowl, I have melted 1/2 stick of butter, and I've just taken a pastry brush and I have brushed all of that butter all over the sides so that the dough does not stick. So now I'm just going to bring this dough together, and I'm going to place it in my buttered bowl. This is very heavy because this is an intense thing of dough. There we go. That looks good. I just want to push it down. I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap as well as a towel. I'm going to put it in a dark, very warm place. I don't want to bake it obviously, but I want it to rise. When it is risen, I will show you what is next. Okay, we have the first rise of the dough, and now you guys are going to hate me, but you have to let this rise twice. So we're going to take this off, just like that. And all you want to do is punch this dough down again. And I need a little bit of flour. I don't want to stick it to me. I just put a little bit of flour on my hand so it won't stick on me. And you want to punch this back down and let the air out of it again. It's a lot of dough. See, it's not even sticking to me at all now. It's a good dough. It's behaving, it's behaving. Alright, so once you punch it down, you want to let this rise again. So I'm just going to take my plastic wrap that I just had, place it back over top of the dough, cover it with a towel, and I'm going to put it back in the warm place where I put it. I'm putting my apron back on, and it's time to make the bread. And remember, this is the second time it has risen, and I got on the phone with my daughter-in-law, and her and I can talk about everything. Wasn't paying attention to this bread. I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. Ta-da! I would say it is risen. So I'm going to carefully pull the plastic wrap off. This is so funny. It literally overflowed the bowl, which is fine. Just make sure your surface is nice and clean, because now you're going to have to separate this dough. Now I have 3 pans. If you want, I believe it's 8-inch pans. It'll be all in the description box down below. I think these are 9-inch pans. They're just regular cake pans. I have 2 of those, and then I have one that I believe is 8 inches. It may be a little bit smaller, I don't know, but that is all I have, and that's what I use every year, and I just have to keep my eye on them when they're baking, just to make sure that, you know, they're baking correctly. So you don't need to flour anything, which is awesome. You don't have to spray it with Pam because it's got a lot of butter in it, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to get some flour here on my hands, so I'm going to have to work with this dough. But this dough is very, very forgiving dough because it's got all that butter in it and it doesn't really stick. But now we have to separate this dough into 3 loaves. Now, if you have a scale, you're lucky. I don't have a scale, but if I had a scale, I would make sure that all of my dough balls, or that my loaves I'm making, equal the, you know, the same amount. So I'm going to get a little bit more flour here. All right. You don't want to flour too much, but you don't want it to stick either. So basically what I do is, I'm going to make sure you guys can see this okay. Let me scoot you back just a little bit. There we go. Want to make sort of a log, I guess. This is how I do it every time I do it, because I don't have any way to measure it out to make it even. And so usually I use a knife, but I'm just going to use my hands today. I'm going to separate it into 3s. And if I feel like one is bigger, I'll just add more to it and we'll go from there. Because this middle part is obviously going to be bigger. Now what I do with each part is I pull it up and pinch it in the back. But what you want to do first is you want a piece of your dough off here. So I get a small ball of dough. Go ahead and knead this into a loaf form. Okay? So it's just a round like this. I'm going to go ahead and place it into my pan, and I'm going to press it down just like so. It doesn't have to be flat. I just like it to be around the same size of the pan. Then I'm going to cut this dough ball in half, making it equal, and I'm going to roll this out into a long snake like. I'm going to twist it. I'm going to place this one right on top, and I'm going to tuck it up underneath the bread on both sides, just like that. Then I'm going to take the second one, roll it into a snake, just like I did that one. I'm going to twist it. Trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Twist it, place it on top. This is what's going to give you that cross effect on top of your bread. And then I kind of pinch it in the center a little bit. And I'm going to do all 3 that way. There they are, all ready for the oven. Once they rest for 30 minutes. It's a lot of work, it seems like, but it is well worth it because this recipe is really delicious, and it is an Easter tradition in my family to make this every year. And I look forward to it every single Easter. So I will let you guys see what they look like when they come out. So I just took this bread out of the oven, and remember, I didn't have a scale to weigh and make sure that all the loaves were equal. And if you have one, please take advantage of that because you don't have to keep as of a close eye on the bread like I had to. I had one that's ginormous, one that's medium, and one that's smaller, but that's okay because they all 3 smell really good, and they're all 3 going to get devoured. Now the largest one is not as pretty as these here that's sitting here. These are actually the prettiest ones. So if I give these away, it'll definitely be one of these here. These are so pretty. I hope you all enjoyed seeing this recipe. I hope you all have a lovely Easter if you celebrate. If you don't celebrate, make this bread anyways. It is delicious. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit that like button. And remember, the entire recipe will be down below in the description box just for you all if you want to copy and paste it. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and I'll be talking to you all again soon. Bye, guys.